Welcome to the Pump Rules Podcast, the show where cast and connoisseurs come to talk all things Vanderpump Rules. Welcome to the new season of Pump Rules Podcast. It's a very exciting day because not only do we have Alana Hope Levinson here, Kristen Doute and Katie Maloney-Schwartz are joining us to discuss the rather exciting first episode of season 6.
I love that you said Katie Maloney-Schwartz.
Well, I try to be good
you
on
said
that.
rather exciting. That was a full-blown shit show. Let's not lie.
Yeah, a mildly amusing episode.
My brain exploded.
My mouth was open pretty much the whole time.
So many things happened that I didn't even know about.
Lisa has to know how the filet mignon is. And it's lovely.
It's
lovely. Yeah, and we get to be reminded that Sur is a restaurant and people work at it.
I love that she
So
got
successful.
to eat through the window because I would get in trouble for that if I still worked there.
She stole a french fry off the plate. The filet mignon is lovely at Sir. It's one of the best filet mignons I've had.
I've told a lot of customers that the filet mignon is lovely as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had it, but I told all those customers that was a true situation.
Well, you just know that any food that comes out of the Sur kitchen.
So
Honestly, everything I've ever had is pretty damn lovely.
I want there to just be an episode where it's like the Sir scene, right? Like it opens and she's like, it's kind of not doing as well this year. It's just not as good as last year.
The
Or,
bubble kind of burst.
It's sort of plateaued.
Yeah.
It's just as good as it was. But every year it's like, it's just,
But that's actually true. It is.
No, I'm sure.
It's like, I don't know, is she just going to buy the entire block of
Yeah,
Robinson and
totally.
Santa Monica? She's going to kick Tortilla Republic out of the place, which for those of
Yeah.
you who don't know, it's the restaurant next to the Giant Sir, but she's just going to take over the whole block.
Right.
All the way to Pump and then down to Tom Tom.
Yep.
Yeah.
We should just build out into the back parking lot.
It's not clear where Tom Tom is.
They show it though.
They show it.
If you're
But I'm
familiar with
saying,
the area,
but explain
it is
for
like
the people
a
that don't know.
stone's throw
Okay.
from Pump.
Okay.
basically. Yeah.
Cool.
So when you want to do a Vandercrawl,
You can
Yeah.
literally
You can
crawl
easily-
from Tom Tom
That's
to
right.
Pump to Sir
Wow.
and probably home for most of us.
yeah, that's true actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Stop off at pavilions.
Salt and straw for some
Oh,
ice
that's
cream.
so good.
I haven't tried salt in the straw yet. It looks like it's incredible.
Their
really good.
lavender honey ice cream is like...
Well, what about the strawberry? I love how Jax asks Sandoval, well, shouldn't we put a little sugar in it?
Well, that just reflects Jax's bartending skills and his knowledge of
thereof.
his knowledge of the Sir cocktails.
Yeah.
I've heard Jax straight up tell people that order mojitos, no, we don't do
He said,
mojitos.
you can have a shot of tequila.
We don't do mojitos on Sundays. I'm like, what are you saying? He's like, you want a warm shot of tequila?
And I got fired. Let's just all remember that. Okay.
I remember hearing from Peter, I think, that one of the reasons that you were on there so long is because you were so great with customers. You were a dream server
I am.
for the public, which isn't that what it's all about?
I am, and
was-
I don't even work there, and I still feel like I'm one of the best employees that they have currently.
She was doing her job and everyone else's. She was so on top of her shit, and she was really good server and
Bartender.
and all the customers loved her. She's really good at the multitasking, so she was definitely a star server at in
Lisa
terms
just
of
doesn't like me,
the job.
But
She
Can't please
she,
everyone.
she, she
Wait,
had
is that
some
really
issues.
it just maintains?
yeah, I think I just rubbed Lisa the wrong way personally.
But she loves Shayna?
You obviously
Right?
I'm
think
confused.
it's, I don't know, maybe it's a creative choice. I don't know. 'Cause Lisa's not an asshole to me all the time. I know that she appreciates my hard work, whether it was at Sir or on the show as a cast member. I know that she appreciates my role, if you will, my assholeness and what it's brought
Sure.
Yeah.
to the ratings or to the dynamic of the cast and of our friends. But I just think I just rub her the wrong way. I'm just not her cup of tea.
Yeah.
Because I want to just be her glass of wine. And she wants a cup of tea. And I'm I'm not really into that
yeah,
whole
I'm not-
British tea shit.
I think
you know
it's
what I mean?
we all have a little crazy Kristen inside of us, and Lisa really wants to reject that part of her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
like them.
triggering her worse.
Yeah.
Or her what she's scared of.
Yeah.
But also she kind of is yes, Kristen, go, girl.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
You know?
Yeah.
Kristen was fantastic.
Yeah.
at her
Basically,
job.
there's no reason that Jax should still be employed
Yeah.
at Sir.
Well, wait, okay,
or
but
should have
by
been
the
to
way-
begin with.
Do you really want to be working there?
Hell no.
Yeah, so
And honestly, I worked there for so it's been 10 years since I started. I've been fired. I worked there for 7 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And
so
most
it's
of
time.
that was off the show, like before the show was a show.
Whoa.
So it's like, you know what? I had a good run.
Right,
7 years at one place of employment is a really damn long time.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Unless it's like a career.
Right.
I'm at the 8-year mark.
Dude.
What do you get for that? You get like a Mickey Mouse watch, but not like.
Do you guys get health insurance?
No, you get a drink after work.
Does Jax make the drink for you?
No, we call it the Sir Pour. It's now known as the at-home pour.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's
Sure.
very different than what Tom will have.
Just fill up the glass with some
That's
alcohol.
cool.
And then you get like a 20% discount when you have dinner there.
You can
while
live
they're
large.
playing Vanderpump Rules in the background
Oh
and
my
selling
God.
t-shirts with our photos on them. Yep,
You
that's
have to
what's up.
pay to eat there?
We do.
Oh my God.
But the food is so lovely, so they don't mind. That's the
Food's
thing.
really damn good though, you guys.
Well, I've never been able to get in. Oh no, that's not true. But like the thing is like if you actually as a person just try to go, like I always just go to Pump because I've never like Sir, it really is really hard to get into.
Oh, you just make a reservation in advance.
I know, but if you don't,
Alana, just text us.
okay, I
Hey,
know, but I'm saying
Alana,
We
I
know
got
people.
you.
I went. No, I realized I lied. I have been there one time, but
I know the manager there.
yeah, you
Yeah.
think you know some people?
They can pull a few strings and
I'll hit up Peter, Sir Manager, and
yeah, he'll make you.
Still?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's really hard for me to grasp that. Like he's actually there.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's committed. He's very dedicated.
he's a
to
manager.
His job.
He's
Yeah.
there all the time.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I think
Yeah.
he only gets like 2 nights a week off.
Yeah.
Wow.
He might be there right now, actually.
Peter is an awesome manager. We have fun. Diana as well.
Yes. Yes.
Well-
I love Diana. Everyone, I love her.
Remind me.
So Diana
I
is
told
the.
Diana to suck a dick.
Yeah.
Oh right.
She's like the super hot
Yeah.
Bulgarian.
Okay,
Did not
okay.
deserve me yelling at her manager, who is my really good friend and my neighbor.
And she kind of has a dominatrix vibe. You're like, okay, no, we're not ready yet for the appetizers. I'm sorry. But please just forgive us.
Yeah.
It's her disposition and like the accent and everything can be very like intimidating.
Sure.
But she's like the
Dude, that bitch.
sweetest.
When I say that
nicest
bitch, I
person.
mean like the best woman ever. I
Yeah.
call Katie that bitch.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Diana
I
started,
call my mom that bitch. I'm like, listen,
That's
bitch.
true.
Yeah, bitch.
AKA
I mean,
mom.
Bench is how you know you're really close.
Yeah.
Diana started as a busser like months after I started as a server.
Yeah.
So that's how long Diane, 10 years she's been there, and she has worked us up. And basically, she should have, like, in my opinion, she should have like a percentage in the restaurant. She should have points, you know?
Yeah,
She should be
yeah,
on the
yeah.
back end.
Well, maybe if she threw $100,000 in, she could be a minor partner. I like the phrasing and everything. They'll be minor partners.
Well, I mean, isn't the place called Tom Tom?
Yeah, I know. It's curious,
Yeah, I
but it
love
might
that.
not be named after them, though.
I mean, I
They could
understand, like,
legally-
maybe, like, yeah, Ken and Lisa, they have the experience and most of the capital coming into it, you
I
know?
have so many
But,
opinions about
if you're going to call it Tom Tom, I mean, they're not, like, so minor.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that first episode, I at least felt totally on the side of Tom. Like, I was just kind of like, you have valid concern. Like, they really didn't seem ridiculous to me.
Not at all.
I agree and disagree. So
Okay.
I'll just give this and then
Okay.
I'll let Mrs. Maloney-Schwartz, because since she's sort of a partner too, because she's like married into that shit. You know what I mean? Number one, $100,000 for 10% is it's like kind of giving them a little bit of a deal. It's
Yeah.
not the best deal. I have considered investing in restaurants before, which I have not because it is very tough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like clearly Ken and Lisa are like investing millions,
But
right?
think about how much they get. They're going to have a spin-off show about Tom
No,
Tom.
I mean, there's
Like,
some,
there's a lot.
It is definitely.
It's not just-
Well, we
There-
don't. I mean, we don't know that. That would be very cool. If
Right.
there
That'd be
was a
very- yeah, it would
spin-off
be
show,
nice,
But
yeah.
it's more
There's
than just
potential.
they're more
Theoretically,
than just
yeah.
investors,
Right.
Investing
They're the face
this
of
much
the-
money,
right.
yeah. Because think about bars in LA. There's like how many investors in each bar?
Yeah.
And they
Right.
have 3% or 10%,
Or even
whatever.
just on this show, it's a whole storyline on
Yes.
this show.
Well, and just in real
Yeah.
life, if this show did not exist for a season
Right.
7, there's still going to be Tom Tom.
Yep.
And Tom
Right.
Tom is because of Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz.
Well, yeah, and
so
they
they
don't-
should have
yeah.
creative control. They should have a say in
They should have
the
creative
decor.
input, not creative control.
Not control, I'm sorry. Creative input. You're right. I think Sandoval is just, as much as I enjoyed every moment of he and Lisa's fighting,
Yeah.
because it's just so good to see Lisa fucking bitch someone else out other than me.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. But there are things I agree with him on
Yeah.
and things that I don't. Do I think that Lisa was eavesdropping on their conversation? Come on. She has better things to do.
It's your boss. Like, why would I wouldn't talk shit on my manager or my boss while
While you're
I'm at the place of business
Exactly.
that they're like
Yeah.
they can
you're right.
rightfully listen to anything I have to say there. I'm on
Exactly.
their time and on their dime. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm like, they
That
own
was-
me at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
That was
come
like
on.
just dumb, but so damn entertaining, especially
Right.
when they were at Tom Tom and Lisa brings it up.
Uh-huh.
And instead of, again, as much as I enjoyed it, instead of Sandoval just sort of backing down and saying, you know what, I'm sorry that you heard that. Like, I was just trying to have a conversation with Ariana. It was not the right place at the right time. He just went off on her. And I'm like, oh my God.
Right. Like
Yeah.
the concerns were fine, but the way that he chose to like air them was
Yeah.
really
And the way
unprofessional.
that Ariana like was out, why would Lisa be eavesdropping? Like you're like, she's like building Tom up. I'm like in their house, just
Right.
being like, you're allowed to do whatever you want. Like you're a partner. Like, homie, you're not a fitty partner. Like this is not a Lisa Guillermo situation.
Yeah.
Did you hire the plumbers and like the people and the electrician?
also
and,
Guillermo
like,
had started Sir before Ken and Lisa came
Yes.
in.
they were the money backers and
They
revamped
dumped
it.
some money into it and built it up and made it the place. And
Right.
then, Sir Lounge came about. But like Guillermo had started Sir in that location, half of even what Sir Restaurant is, and not even including the lounge. But, he had already started something. But,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is not the same situation.
I totally understand Sandoval's points, and I think he made some great points. Truly,
Yeah.
I
But it was
just-
the way he handled it, especially
He
with
just
the
sounded
backdrop of pissing her off at the
Yeah,
restaurant.
and then
Right.
going off on her.
Doubling down
Also-
on that is like not a smart.
Yeah, and
approach.
I mean, they trust them about the design of the restaurant, where the kitchen's gonna go. Like, I mean, that stuff seems like stuff that like someone who's opened 33 restaurants, like where the patio,
Lisa's
like
interview bite was so.
it's just like you don't
It
know.
was
But
brilliant.
I don't know how we managed to open 33
It was my
bars and
second
restaurants.
favorite.
yeah, me
Bite
too.
of
Like I was
episode.
like, okay, that's not the problem. The problem is more the branding stuff, the other concerns about like our name.
And Schwartz obviously stays. He likes to kind of take a back seat and like go. I'm not going to bury ourselves while Sandoval's already
Yeah.
doing it. He's very modest and humble in that way, which I
I
that's why
understand.
we all fucking love.
And also
Tom
a little
Schwartz.
anxious too. He's wildly anxious in the restaurant when Sandoval and Lisa are having this fight because it looks like this might be cratering it. You must not have been too thrilled when you heard about
I
that.
was like, yeah, because of course, I mean, Schwartz is not going to be like, oh my God, screw Sandoval for saying on it. But when he told me what had happened, Sandoval and Ariana were talking in Sir, and Lisa heard them, I was just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is not good. And Tom was just like, I hope not. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm just like, look, I understand, because they're not just investors. Investors just like dump money in,
Yeah,
and
they're
then just
silent
and then just-
partners.
and they
Yeah.
just go about their life and everything like that. But I know Tom and Tom, they're going to have more of a role and more responsibility to play into that, other than just investing their money. That they're gonna have.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Lisa said like she wants Tom Schwartz to be like the Guillermo, if you will, like
Sure.
the face
Yeah,
of it,
yeah,
because he's so likable and he's so kind to people and he's so fun to be around, and
Yeah.
that's not an investor, that is a partner.
It's much more of themselves that they're putting into it, and their likeness and their reputation.
And their personality, which is why they're co-opting
And
them.
the why Lisa approached them about
Right.
this, obviously. So I get that, and then obviously their input is very earnest, and they're really excited, and they want to be involved, especially because they understand what they're putting in, and
Yeah.
they want to make sure that even though it's only 10%, that they're still getting out what they want of it, and having like their sort of like touch and their little like
Yeah. The creative
little,
stamp
little
on
things
it.
on
Yeah.
things. But
Some nostalgia.
but I told
Or however
but
Nostalgia. Schwartz is so sweet. He's like, yeah, it's not really what it is, but it's fine.
It's
Tom.
cool,
It's
man.
fine,
You
Tom."
mean the same thing. I know what you're saying.
But at the end of the day, I in my head, I was just like, Sandoval, like that was just you overstepped too much. And at the end of the day, Ken and Lisa have opened up 30 something bars and restaurants. They know what they're doing. You guys, like, you can approach it and offer input or certain things that you think might help elevate or add to the whole vibe of everything, but you have to understand, like, they know what they're doing. So kind of tread lightly when it comes to that, and if you want them to hear you, you can't just like come in there making demands and be like, oh, we're partners. There's a way to have a conversation about that like sort of needs to be always in the forefront of your mind whenever you like go into meetings with them.
Yeah, temperament. You need to like chill, and it needs to be velvet gloves, not boxing gloves.
But it made me so happy.
And also, I kind of wish that, like, why wasn't he airing those grievances to Tom, the other partner? Like, hey, I have this concern.
Schwartz is guppy. Because he probably maybe did, or probably had. And Schwartz is like, yeah, man. And inside, Schwartz is like, exactly what Schwartz said, I think, in his interview ways. He's like, you know, Tom has great input and he's great at these
details.
Yeah, exactly. But he knows that Tom is like Tom Sandoval can be overbearing.
Right. But I'm saying he can mitigate that more than like his girlfriend can, because that's a different kind of conversation. That's like when you're venting to your part, which is kind of what they were saying. It's like, it's different from going home being like, oh, this thing at work and venting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was it was the wrong time and place.
Exactly. It wasn't like an actual professional conversation.
And especially because, you know, you never want to say anything that could be taken as like a drag to anyone or shit talk about anyone,
especially Lisa Vanderpump.
Especially your
they're a little sensitive to that.
You know, I think it needs to be less about like, you should be grateful, because it's like, well, they didn't like campaign for this and Ken and Lisa like picked them out of the bunch. Like they did approach Tom and Tom about this. Right. So I think that, you know, the conversation just needs to be a little
And can
more.
I say, but I will say, as a longtime viewer who's like doesn't know anyone, the narrative of like everyone needs to be so grateful to Lisa Vanderpump constantly is really fucking annoying. Like,
that's why
you guys made the show. Like, I'm just saying, like,
this
this like constant bow down to the queen is like I totally get it. It's kind of like how you feel, or how I feel about like the editor that gave you your start, but then you were still really good.
But
and you ran
I will speak as the one person that she really fucking doesn't like. It's like, whenever I'm doing press and we're doing Vanderpump Dogs or anything like that, and people ask me how I feel about her, like, I am grateful. I could not be more fucking grateful, because I would never have this show, the life that I live, the apartment that I live in, like anything without Lisa Vanderpump. We would never have Vanderpump Rules, even though I'm sure every group of friends has said, oh my God, if we only had a reality show. Like, we said that not even thinking we would have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So really, we really wouldn't have shit without Lisa Vanderpump.
No, obviously, because she was on Housewives, and without her being on Housewives, they would not have any interest in
But on the other hand, it could have flopped. You could have been, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
could have had a stain on your reputation for being on a show that flopped.
There is the argument of just like, well, if I have to just give everything up to someone else for everything, like, then why have I bared every nasty intimate detail of my relationship and my friendships? I mean, like, I've put in a little bit of work.
Yeah,
like,
you certainly bled out enough.
I've more than bled out.
Yeah, right. We were worried there wasn't any blood left, actually. You had to go to get a transfusion.
I bled out, had like a transfusion, and then re-bled out again.
But
like,
they always
keep
pushing this thing of just like...
Yeah. It is. It's really frustrating to not publicly, whether it's Lisa or just in general regarding the show, that whether it's like trolls on Twitter or just social media, and people are like,
there were trolls on Twitter?
God. A little bit. A couple of them. But people just saying like, oh my God, why would you ever like, you know, disagree with Lisa? It's like, but I'm a human.
Yeah.
And also like Katie just said, like, we bleed for this show.
Yeah, but this show
that's
is
why
one
we're
thing,
so
but
crazy
also,
about new people, because I'm like, you don't know. People, not even the viewers, don't even understand what we have bled out.
But we're talking about two things. We're talking about the show and the restaurant.
But I think they're related because it's like, it's the same narrative.
You know what? There's a thin line.
Before we move on, two of you have empty drinks, so why don't we fix that?
This episode brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light, the official beer of Pump Rules Podcast. Get your Schwartz on and drink the day away with Coors Light.
Well, Sandoval apparently masturbates to haircut, so that's good to know. I'm just going to file that one away. If anyone has comments on that, to jump in. But I thought it was really interesting that Sheena is having a birthday party, doesn't just not invite you, but has to pull you aside and tell you that because of apparently your quote-unquote rage texts.
Oh, yeah. My rage texts.
Yes, you know.
Oh, God.
That's all you do is rage text, right?
I mean, I know people got tired of me saying this convenient narrative, but I couldn't stop saying it enough because I wanted to just draw attention to the fact that people just sort of glommed onto these things because, hey, this has been something that held up and a truth in quotes, in the past that everyone just sort of like, oh, well,
it's easy now.
Katie's just drunk. Oh,
angry drunk Katie.
Yeah. It's like, and that completely invalidates my feelings and
the reality of the situation.
My rights and morality as a human.
Yeah, it minimizes your thoughts, which means that I'm not at fault at all, so I can just blame it on her.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. And the reason why that did become a truth was my fault, and I've recognized that and tried to reconcile with that. But at the end of the day, it's not always about that. And when people wouldn't want to own their shit, it would just be a quick, easy
dodge.
Out to just be like, oh, well, she's just drunk again and rage texting. So my text to Sheena, which was one little screen grab with a convenient, sentence or two highlighted, with zero context to what we were talking about,
of course.
Aside from what Sheena said in her interview by...
Well, let me just interrupt for a second, because as Lisa says, I don't think that Sheena is the most reliable narrator, because as we'll get into later, it's obvious that she just sort of shifts the truth around to fit whatever she wants to present at the time.
Yeah. So just to elaborate on what Sheena was saying, and there was a podcast that she did.
Oh, right.
Earlier in the year before all this, and we had been all close, me, Kristen, Sheena, and Stassi for a long while, like really, really close, like a tight-knit group of girlfriends, and. It felt good. It felt finally like, okay, like finally we're on the right track. Finally we're like, we're living a truth. We're like living, there felt like there were some like elements that were, nice to have for once, rather than, it always just being sort of like
warring factions.
Exactly. And so, we felt like we could sort of have more of an open line of communication, a little more honesty, not necessarily like tough love, but
I think when we all sort of agreed and said, and at least, well, the three of us said, you, Stassi, and I, and then Sheena agreed to it. There was one point where we said, we realized that everyone needs something different from each friendship, and not everyone is the same. So when Stassi needs to be like left the fuck alone sometimes, and she like is antisocial, and Sheena like wants to be texted back immediately all the time. It's like, we're now realizing, okay, or not realizing, but accepting
and
that each friend needs something different, and therefore that's okay.
And we
that
all
was
acknowledged
the point
that.
Where it seemed great, and then all of a sudden it fell to shit again because of Sheena.
We all acknowledged that, and so we're like, this is great. Like this feels like we're like really finally getting to a real place. We said that over and over. So we felt like we could get to the place where we didn't have to like, baby Sheena, and that like if she said something that bothered me, I could express that to her, and she would be able to receive it and be open to it and accept my feelings and maybe like, counter or defend herself or whatever. But there could be like a conversation that was productive. Sure. So first I got a series of tweets referencing this, being like, oh, she's talking mad shit. And I was like, all right, well, I want to know what my friend is saying about me. That's kind of like a really uncomfortable
just
thing.
Out of nowhere. So hold on.
At this point, did she already start unfollowing you?
No.
Not yet. Okay.
No,
wait. So you guys are all
time-wise,
friends. Let's just explain the content. You're friends. Like everything's fine. And you just get texts.
Ooh, this was tailing after the reunion.
Right. Okay.
So everything was awesome and great leading up to the reunion. And then we were all a little blindsided at the reunion by Sheena's sort of new position on things and the way she talked to us. But this person in this podcast says, Sheena, like, so what is the deal with Katie? Is she just like this crazy, jealous, insecure person? And Sheena, with almost zero hesitation, is like, well, the thing with Katie is that she just like doesn't have a lot of friends. Like she has like her close knit group of friends, but like not like me. Like I have tons and tons of friends, and and then starts talking about herself. Like never really like answers the question, but to me, being a sort of person that likes to think a little,
that's bad.
Yeah, it's
like
not
think
good.
deeper.
Like if your friend said that about you.
Her saying I don't have a lot of friends, I was like, no shit, I keep my circle small. Like there's a reason for that, obviously. I'm also like too old to have like a billion fluff friends like she does, but so, like that's her business.
I was gonna say, she doesn't say how old she's turning. Right?
Oh yeah, what's the age?
Because I was like, is this
Yeah.
her 30th birthday? Why is she acting like this is like a second wedding with the ball? It's like very weird. No, seriously. Like I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
I don't know, but
No, it's true. Like, and she does seem to want a second wedding.
But
also,
yeah.
like
It's
real
well,
sad.
yeah,
It's
I know.
confusing.
I mean,
real
but-
bad.
so after hearing this, to me, I'm like, well, that's an interesting response to that kind of question of
Yeah,
like saying
yeah.
like, am I insecure? Like I'm not a fan. Like, and I know I don't have as many friends as you do, but like, there's
Which
a
is not
reason-
something you're hung up on anyway. It's just a shitty thing.
That's not the thing I'm talking about. I'm not bummed because you said I don't like
Right,
have
no,
a lot of
exactly.
friends.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying the implication of her response was that like I'm incapable of having friends, or I'm a bitch, or I don't get along with people, or I can't have, it was that angle
Of course,
to it,
yeah.
which to me was like very clear and all that. So I texted her, I reached out to her, and I was like, what is this about?
Yeah.
And from there, it was just kind of a lot of deflecting and a lot of defense. And I felt like with Sheena, a lot of times she wants to just blame things on me and
Yeah.
the things that I've done wrong in the friendship, when I've bent over backwards and been there for her and done and tried and so hard. And it just almost felt like it was never enough, or unless I was like, only her friend or closer to her than I was with like Stassi or Kristen. Like
Yeah.
that was the only way that she was going to feel okay with it. But
Very conditional, the whole relationship with her.
Of course.
Yeah.
So when I was texting her,
Can I interject, Katie, real quick?
okay.
Because I also, just adding to that, small opinion, I think that viewing now that I'm not close to Sheena anymore, and I've finally like taken a step back, I've noticed that Sheena is BFFs, quote unquote, Snapchat best friends, Instagram best friends, whatever her new best friend is, as it's convenient for the look.
Sure.
Whoever
absolutely.
is the most popular in the moment, whoever she's going to look like she's saving or rescuing from bad friends. Like when Stassi was alone, she was like Stassi's like only friend.
She was waiting in the
when
wings
Katie
for-
and Stassi weren't friends, she was Katie's best friend, and Katie's getting married. Oh, got to jump on that bridesmaid bandwagon.
Well, remember also when you went to Palm Springs and surprised
that and how
you know,
pissed she was.
The
after
second
fact.
it worked out, but the drive up, she's
The
like,
drive up,
I'm
she's,
with you. I'm,
Katie,
I'm
all
your, I'm your
yours,
rock.
I'm your backbone. Yeah.
She was the one that really encouraged me
And the second
to
that you
give
actually
Stassi
made
a
up with
chance.
Stassi, she started crying and made it all about her.
It was almost instantaneously. Like when Stassi and I finished that conversation in Palm Springs, it
Yeah.
was like that.
Yeah,
Like
the garage
she-
door closed.
Sheena never
and-
fucking fought over me. Like, am I chopped liver?
No, so okay, so I'll wrap up this whole text thing really fast. So I, and we're going back and forth, and she's blaming me for her bad behavior, and so I just like, I'm like, I've had enough. I'm like, so what? Okay, so yeah, okay, sure, Sheena, yeah. We bullied you. Okay, we bullied you, and you just so pathetically wanted to be accepted by us. So like you forced yourself to hate Lala. That is what you're really going to. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
And I sent her screenshots in December when she was like, "Oh my god, I fucking can't stand Lala." Da da da. And then 2 months later, we're at the reunion, and all of a sudden, she's like completely against the three of us.
Yeah.
And
because of the horrible things that you said about Lala.
And
even though-
backpedaling on everything. And I'm like, girl, you're really sitting here trying to say to my face and like just lying to everyone and the cameras and me and yourself, saying that like you never hated Lala, you only hated her because you thought we wanted you to. Honey,
I always forget that the
receipts.
viewers up until like this moment in this podcast or this episode that they actually don't know anything other than social media about life between reunion
That's
and
right.
episode 1.
Yeah.
Because it was crazy for all of us that were like, I'm sorry, what? And then the second, obviously at the reunion, Katie and Lala both very genuinely apologized to each other.
Yeah.
Is when I genuinely like let go of all my pissiness toward Lala. Because
Yeah, I mean-
that's all I was mad about.
No, exactly.
It had nothing to do with any of the other shit talk. I mean, there were opinions that I had, of course, and viewpoints,
Sure.
but it was really like Lala, in my opinion, was fucking with my best friend. You fuck with my best friend, it's like you're fucking with my family.
Right.
Say what you want about me. You fuck with Katie, I'm going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
And the second Katie looked at Lala and had that genuine moment, and Lala did the same, it was like this huge fucking weight was lifted.
Yeah.
And the only person that couldn't handle it was Sheena.
Right.
She was very
upset about it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is just like they weren't rage texts.
Which you'll see this more this season.
There's a difference between rage text. It's just like blind rage, just being a bitch. Fuck you. All of this.
Well, just to remind the listeners, a good rage text example would be like, I can't fucking believe I almost married you. I never would ever imagine having a kid with you.
Shit,
That's exactly. That's a proper
rage text.
Classic rage text.
Being just being like, you know what? Maybe eventually I'll put the text out there so everyone can see just how
everything's spelled correctly. It's not an autocorrect thing. It's grammatically correct. Most of Katie's rage texts have like misspelled words, and then you're like, oh.
No, it's just I'm just
she purposefully did not hit autocorrect. I know that bitch is drunk right now. These were very articulate,
I
intelligent,
thought
well thought out texts.
I was 100% sober. I was on a plane coming back, and I like read this, and I was hearing stuff that my friend, someone that I had been close to, who was a bridesmaid at my wedding not too long ago, saying these things about me. That was hurtful. Yeah, that's not insignificant at all to me. Like that's why I only have a few friends, because there's only a few women who I want that close to me, and when they betray that and they're not loyal, you know, I mean, like then no, you're not my friend anymore. And to hear that, I was hurt, and I wasn't yelling at her, I wasn't screaming at her, I was calling her the fuck out for it, and she just like couldn't handle it, and so she just interpreted it all as rage. Like I'm not.
Well, again,
enraged.
it's blaming you for your feelings. So she hurt your feelings. That's her
turning it around.
So when I said to her that in the scene, like, okay, yes, because it's all my fault. Like, because you cannot own your shit. You're always gonna blame it on me.
Because Sheena surrounds herself with yes people.
Well, I did this because you wanted me to. I did this because you made me feel like I had to. I did this because you guys made me feel.
It's all blaming you. Everything is.
Take
it's
responsibility
the blame
for the things you say.
Well, so here's the thing:
do.
the episode doesn't actually address how she responded. It's like you raged at her, but how did she respond? Because here's the thing: good friendships, you're gonna do things that upset the other person. It's all about how you respond. Like, I'm so sorry, it was misinterpreted. Or like, I didn't. Maybe you would accept that. Maybe you wouldn't. Well, but I'm curious. Do you want me to read
did
the
she
text? Just like shut down?
Yes, we do. We would definitely would like to know exactly what the text says.
I'm not going to read all of them. I'll read you the text before and the text after.
Right. Like, what was her direct response? Because I think how people respond to criticism is like everything in terms of how you can. Yeah, like be friends with them, right?
Well, she was accusing me of rage texting her, and I'm like, I'm tired of you blaming me or us for making you hate Lala. Like, I don't care who you're friends with. My issue is with you had no constitution. And I was just like, it's hurtful. It's bullshit. I feel like you throw me under the bus, and I feel like I can't trust you. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm not rage texting. I'm on a plane. I just listened and had to speak my mind. And she said, I can't ever speak my mind or give an opinion that doesn't completely make all of you look good. Never said that was a problem. You can say it like... Yeah, trust me, honey. My last concern is looking good. Clearly, just watch like any episode of Vanderpump Rules, okay?
And by the way, at no point do you guys say we should talk on the phone. At no point is like
no, because I was on a plane.
It was on a plane.
I was on a plane. So leading up to that, it was just about her saying that she wanted to be friends with Lala, but like she cared so much about my friendship, so she didn't. But so she was like withholding herself from friendship, but I'm like, that's not true, because I have receipts, girlfriend. I can remember conversations and things that you said up until December.
Yeah.
That, you did not like Lala, like, like that. And those were your thoughts and opinions, 100%. And so I was just got tired of that. I'm like, you need to stop throwing me on the bus and blaming me. And so
she was also leaning into the whole, the three witches are so cruel. They bully me to get her sympathy.
I can't have an opinion unless it makes you look good.
Love that she gives us like branding opportunities.
It's actually great.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you keep doing that press. You keep saying three witches, a WeHo, say vagina mafia.
Yeah.
Holler.
Our t-shirts will thank you.
So that's why I was like, okay,
James
clearly
May.
everything I'm trying to explain and my feelings I'm trying to express to you right now, you don't care about. It's just falling on deaf ears. So I was just like, okay, all right. So yeah, Sheena. I was like, I'm not going to argue in circles. So yeah, okay, we bullied you, and you so like pathetically wanted to be accepted by us, so you just like forced yourself to hate Lala. I'm like, that's the story you're sticking with? They left that part out. They like cropped it right underneath that part that says, "Is that the story you're sticking to?"
Shout out to the Twitter person who totally had that. Like, shout out to your Twitter.
And then
fan.
and then after that, what followed that, I said, "Is that the story you're sticking to?" And now you are emancipated from this. I thought we were actually friends, and it's like some Stockholm syndrome thing. Like we kept her, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have amazing friendships with women, and we let each other think freely and live their best lives. But I'm loyal as a motherfucker, and you clearly don't understand the difference between that and saying you felt you had to just agree with everything. That's incredibly sad to me and heartbreaking.
And
does that sound like rage to you?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Now, and yeah,
I
and that
know
was
that I
Andy.
know that Katie rage text, and that is not one.
I
Yeah,
rest
there's a big difference.
my case. That was coming from a friend who was hurt, and she could not apologize or own her shit, so she just blamed it on me.
Well,
Yeah.
also I think it's even when you two were at odds, it never got to the point where it's like, this is a thing you do. Like, this is your rage texting, this is your blah blah blah. It was more just like, we had a disagreement, like, I'm upset, blah blah blah. Like, I feel like the second it goes into the point of like
where it has a brand name,
where it's like making it into some narrative of
Convenient narrative?
that's how you know it's bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
And even that happens just in normal friendships where people
For me,
like,
people were just like,
Yeah, when Katie's an asshole, I call her an asshole.
Yeah,
when
but
Stassi's a bitch, I call her a
You're
bitch.
not like-
but I'm
you're
not
not
like,
like-
oh, there goes Tequila Katie again.
There she
oh,
goes.
there's
Exactly.
Princess Stassi. Unless it's Stassi's birthday, then I do say that.
okay,
no, but that's a
the one
special
time.
moment.
But
Yeah,
yeah, Stassi's just being like a bitch on like a normal night,
Right.
normal drunken Tuesday or something.
And-
I'm not like, oh, Princess Stassi's back. Here's the brat.
doing her thing again, doing
Tequila
that whole
Katie.
yeah.
It's so-
no.
It's so
Disingenuous.
dismissive.
It just means we're being
It is
fucking
so
assholes.
It's also
disingenuine.
destabilizing too,
And-
because it just knocks the legs out of the other
It's
person.
dismissive, and especially
Yes,
when it's
Craig,
someone that's
thank
your
you.
close friend. You're like, are you really gonna go to the Vanderpump Rules narrative right now in our
Right.
friendship that you know me like through and through, and we
Yeah.
spend so much
That's
time together?
fucked
You're
up.
gonna go ahead and just like go to what you have the support.
That's a
of?
really good point.
Get the argument that has the most support. Way to go.
Yeah.
But that's how Sheena lives her whole life, is going with the argument that has the most support via social media. She lives her life through a Snapchat filter.
Well, as we see with her discussions with Lisa about how wonderful Rob is, first off, before I even get to that, she has to hammer home the point that she was with Rob for 4 years
Oh my God. No.
before.
Off and on, which makes you think, well, what kind of stitch was that?
2006 to 2010.
Whoa.
This is when she was selling stories about Eddie Cibrian and John Mayer. Sorry,
Yeah.
not sorry.
Yeah.
By the way, no, when she's talking about that, I'm like, are you 45 years old? Because I thought that Shay was your high school sweetheart. No, I'm like actually confused.
Well, no, they went to high school together, and
Okay.
they knew each other in high school,
Okay.
but they weren't high school sweethearts.
right.
But also, when her and Rob
They,
first
yeah,
got
they were
together,
not together in high school. They knew each other in high school.
Like they went to the same high school. That's
Yes,
basically
okay,
what it
That's
is.
very not
it.
clear though, because when you're watching this show, you're kind of like they've
Alana,
been.
I was
It's so
confused
unclear.
about that. I
It's
was
so
with them for
unclear.
4 years off and on because I knew they dated. Like they kind of would see each other from time to time, but
Yeah, it's like that random.
But when they got
person you-
together,
Like they
she
occasionally
no,
fuck, yeah.
she. But to me, no, to me, she was always very much like her and Rob's relationship back then really never got off the ground.
Yeah. Like
it never-
relationship would be a stretch to call it a relationship.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was.
But now they're trying to spit it as I was always
I
in love
met
with him.
Rob years ago when Sheena was with Shay, not married to Shay, but they were together. And I met Rob, and
I just
and
like also that
she
you just said
expressed-
touche and not the way that you meant to. Which,
That's good, Craig. Touche. To Michael Shay. And at that time, she had even expressed to me like her past relationship, if you will, with Rob, but it was never it wasn't like a
It
boyfriend.
was like my unrequited love of my life.
he
that
wasn't
I-
a boyfriend, but it was. She, to be very honest, she did sort of. This sounds so fucked up, and it makes me feel fucked up.
we're
saying
talking
it.
about Sheena. I don't know if you can really say this will sound
I
so
know.
fucked up.
So Sheena and Shay, Michael Shay, were not married at this point when I met Rob for the first time, but she did express to me during that time that we were friends that he kind of was this one that she always
Got
wondered.
away.
I don't want to say
Yeah.
the one that got away, but she was like, I always wondered what would happen.
Yeah.
That being said, Rob was never a boyfriend.
Right.
It
right.
was the guy she crushed on. They probably
Yeah,
like,
everyone
went
has that
out and
person.
banged a lot
Yeah.
and made out and whatnot. So
Yeah.
for her, yes, for Sheena to look at Lisa and say, I mean, I just, I knew I always was going to be with him. It's like during the 6 years you were with Shay.
I don't think she realizes how nuts that makes her
during your
look.
wedding
Like how
planning?
bad and poor fucking Shay. Like I just like.
That is I will truly not the first time,
Can
but
you imagine? Like
a handful of times that I stopped and I was like, I'm literally forgetting about everything Shay ever did to her.
Yeah.
Although she did a lot of fucked up shit to him, I'm not discounting that, but I literally was like, poor fucking Shay.
Yeah.
I wrote some shit down earlier
Because you
when I was
were
watching
married.
it.
It's not just like your ex-boyfriend. You were literally married, and you're now saying that like the whole time I was like pining for this other guy.
I'm sorry. It was the way she worded it. She said, She said 2006.
Made me really
it was the
uncomfortable.
inflection in her voice. She said 2006, 2010. And then she's like, and then I had that like break where I was like, well, shy.
That kind of made my heart sink.
It
Like,
hurt
was
too,
just-
because it was. Here's the thing.
I wouldn't even say that shit about Sandoval, and he's fucking super happy. I can't believe he and I ever dated. We were together for 6 years. We weren't anywhere near marriage, and I wouldn't be like, and then there's that like weird 6 years where I was like, oh, Tom. But like, I think it's weird that he and I dated. I think that strangely years.
Sure, but
a husband,
married,
but a fucking husband.
You wouldn't slide down the ladder of respect to the point where you go that little break where I was.
I say
That's
a little
what I'm saying.
break, like,
Yeah.
oh, he dated James.
Yeah,
Oh.
no,
That was like psycho.
Yeah, but also
situation.
a husband that you're with, like.
And also the one as they show in the clip, when she's like, it's so great. When I kiss him, I get butterflies. Where at the same time, he is hiding in another room on the compound where the wedding was, basically with a pillow over his head to refuse to be
like,
Yeah,
filmed.
she
but
really
you know
wanted
what
to get
Sheena would say
married,
about
right?
that? If you're like, but a butterfly, she'd be like, oh my god, well, I feel like I like had to say that because I was like trying and did a little. Like,
again-
she can't own that.
Yeah. So
she can't own that. She would be like, well, I mean, like I was trying to fool myself, like I was lying to myself and everyone.
she'll
like,
say
everyone,
that now.
Like she said no, but I'm just saying this is just sort of like a behavioral pattern of Sheena where she's like she's
unable to own the shit that she said at
Anything.
the
Instead of just
time.
being like, maybe I have some problems. Like maybe I'm a codependent. Like I'm just jumping in.
For her to say, I felt like that then. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was hopeful. But in that moment, I really did think that because we were both trying and it felt that way. And then
But that's not what she said.
shit fell apart. Because when shit fell apart between Sheena and Shay, it was both of their faults.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it was a lot on Shay. It was a lot on Sheena for what she had done in the last 6 months, especially. But what Shay had done at the very end of it,
Yeah.
it was both of their faults.
Sure.
In different ways.
But to go back to the thing
But
where
just-
she says,
yes.
so when she says something, as you said, Alana, she doesn't have any idea how fucking nuts she comes across. So this is her central problem.
That's what I'm saying, 'cause I don't-
but she rewrites these whole things where there's entire seasons of film that we've all watched, and she has no idea. Like she's so dumb in that respect. Like she cannot fucking see how she's coming across. While
it's on TV.
hold on, she is trying to control the narrative and the impression, and she's so bad at it.
Well, Craig, now you know
She
my
is,
frustration
yes.
with you and why I quote unquote rage text her because she rewrites the narrative in her head.
And expects everyone else to be on
To
board.
just go along with it, no challenging.
That's how we felt sitting at the reunion with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Like she was rewriting a narrative that have happened off camera, like of our lives.
We were,
like, are
we're
you
all
really
sitting
trying
there
to
like,
convince
do we have
me?
to
That's
fight
really-
this for an hour right now? That like,
Right.
Do I have to sit there
that
and think
you
about
were like
conversations
stood
we've
by
had?
Lala the whole time when you're the fucking one who was sending us screenshots? It wasn't Crazy Kristen doing private investigating on Lala and her boyfriend. It was Sheena.
Sheena's the
and
one.
Sheena's team, if you will.
Sheena had a lot of intel that she-
and Sheena would go on this group chat with Katie and Stassi and I, and maybe occasionally Brittany, and be like, "Oh my god, so look at this! Like,
Look what I
look at
found."
Lala,
Yeah,
look at
but-
Lala,
But,
this
but
and Lala
Kristen,
that."
but she said that she did that because she thought that's what we
'Cause
wanted
what
her
we
to
wanted.
do.
But that's
But
not.
no, but we
you're
didn't.
an adult. Like
No, but
this
first
isn't-
of all,
Yeah.
we never expressed that. And honestly, if she
I
didn't
know,
do that,
but-
it's not like we would be like, "You're cut." Like we didn't ask her
That's
to
what
do
I'm
that.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Like
We didn't ask
it
her to do
doesn't
that.
actually.
They were like, if you don't pull up info on someone, you're not allowed to sit with it. You can't sit with us. No, that never happened.
But when she goes back to that sort of
That's her mentality.
thing
Same thing
that-
with the Shay thing. It's same thing with the you thing. She was only our friend. She only went to Montauk for Stassi's birthday because that's what we wanted. But she really wanted to go with Ariana.
This segment brought to you by Nastasia Bianca Candles. Combine, contrast, relax with the soothing scents only Stassi Schroeder would claim as her very own. Top flavors include the enchanting aroma of Hidden Valley Secrets, the complicated girlish glee of white wine summer, the bloodthirsty delirium that is pumpkin spice murder. Nastasia Bianca, the kind of candle you want to leave too close to the curtains. Nastasia Bianca, bougie candles, garbage prices. Nastasia Bianca, available now at all Smart and Final locations.
Before we get to the big Jack stuff, Jax and Brittany are now
neighbors down the hall.
Can they hear us?
I actually pipe the show directly into their apartment, so they can get a sense of what's happening, just to prep them. Brittany's been through a lot, so.
If you guys could see the look on Katie's face, Katie's like, Brittany has been through a lot, but so have I, because I live down the hall.
Yeah, this is fun. We can get into this now, actually. When this was all going on, what was your opinion of Jax and Brittany moving into the building? We had many discussions about this.
I was pissed. I was like, there's no way in fucking hell. Like, Brittany, I was like, if Brittany wants to move down the hall.
Well, obviously, when I say Jax and Brittany, I'm just saying it because they both live in
I
the
know,
apartment.
but like, I just want to know, but also with the most respect to all of my friends, even Kristen sitting right here, Stassi, all that. It's like, I love you guys, but I don't want to live down the hall from any of you assholes.
They're your friends. They're your coworker. Like, you literally have no space.
We spend every freaking day together.
That's the first thing that Katie said. I think it was probably to Stassi and I, probably in a group chat, was when she found out this might be a thing. She did converse with Brittany.
Yeah.
Katie did, but she was like, look, y'all, like, I don't want to live with you or Stassi. Like, for real, we all live in like a 6-block radius from each other.
Right.
Is that not enough?
Yeah.
Like, I was
We
like,
can
isn't
scooter over.
enough.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's nice that we all spend like almost every day together. We work together.
Right,
We film
right.
a show together. We're
Exactly.
together we go on trips together.
Yeah.
We're together all the time. It's kind of nice when we can go home and have that little bit of like separation and privacy thing. Like, I just felt like it was a bit of like a sort of or it was just felt like intrusive in ways.
Invasion. You were going with invasion first. I think you could go.
Well,
That's how you felt. That is how you felt.
Yeah, no, I mean, invasion and truth, they're kind of the same thing. But
but invasion's a little more sinister, and I think that's the word that you want to stick with.
That, because that is
invasion. That sounds better than intrusion, right? It's a little better.
Invasion.
Jax Taylor, an invasion. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know how Jax can be,
And clearly what we saw, because I watched it as a viewer too.
And I was just like, you know what?
It was
like,
proven. He
Tom
ran over, got a beer, walked in.
But
that's why Katie and Tom locked their door now.
You know what?
Yeah, it's a good move.
Well, no, our door is always kind of locked unless I know someone's coming. But
you knew I was coming over tonight. And
Wait, Katie, what happened to the doorbell? Do you remember last season? They just like made it a premise that you had a doorbell at your apartment, and then we never heard it again. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, no. Yeah. Typically, when people are coming over, I mean, I leave the door unlocked. But tonight, I forgot. Sometimes I forget.
Like 4 fucking times I've been to your house.
Well,
the door was locked,
because,
and then
because if I come in, if I've like recently come in before you, and then
it just doesn't feel very welcoming.
When I open, I'm like, okay. Anyways, I'm not going to explain like the dumb semantics.
Alana, you can attest.
So
you can attest to the icy vibes at Katie's place.
Well, no. But let me just say, so that. I mean, when I saw that scene, I was like, this is so fake. Like, he's like, I gotta go get a beer. And then he's like, come, like, but he actually does that. Yeah, he actually just waltzes over.
He doesn't always like just walk in like
that.
And
like go into your fridge.
No, this is Jax. He'll come and knock on the door, and I'm like, I haven't Postmated anything. No one's coming over.
Yeah,
I'm not
like,
expecting company.
Scary. You're like,
normally, like the UPS guy or the mailman will just leave it at the door.
Funny.
Like, I don't like get a lot of people knocking on my door.
Yeah.
I live in an apartment, and I hear that and I'm like, what the fuck? And the dogs start barking like crazy, and I go look, and it's Jax, and I open up the door like it's just a crack.
You wish you had like the chain thing like at hotels where you can just open it only this much, and if he tries to come in, you're like, nope.
No, sorry, slide a sandwich out, and then he'll.
A sandwich, turkey sandwich.
I look through the eye hole and I see, and I open it only about that much. I'm like, yes.
You see that beautiful nose and that giant swollen face.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you need? He's like, is Tom home? I'm like, no. Oh, I'm like, did you text him? No. Well, this was something we talked about, that you were gonna text or call before you come over.
Because by the way, let's just say for the audience, there had to be some ground rules. There was a long process.
Brittany and I decided we would be the ones to sit down and make the ground rules and sort of like implement them with the guys.
Yeah.
That, we were going to treat it as if we didn't live down the hall, and you had to call or text to see if you were home, because why would you like go over to someone's front door if they weren't home and you didn't know they were, without at least giving them a heads up. And obviously, like, in case of emergency, of course. And also that our apartments were not going to be used as like refugee camps if there was fights or something like that that wasn't going to happen. Maybe in extenuating circumstances, sure. But for the most part, we were going to have that kind of.
Hence why we all live 6 blocks from each other, because there are extenuating circumstances.
The reason why I felt like it was so invasive is because, like, no one told me that this was going to be happening. Typically
I thought they had. That's the other thing. I thought that you had been.
No.
Okay.
Do you know how many people come into our place and they're like, oh, are there any opening apartments?
Well, let's get into that. Let's talk about
how
how that happened. There would be parties upstairs and people would be like, oh, your new place. This is great. Like, I wish I could live here.
We live in a really awesome building, great location, sick apartment. And so, people come over, they'll be like, oh my God, I love this place. Oh my God, I want to live here. Is that, and we're like, oh, there's a really long list, You have to be like, you got to like know people. You got to have like clout
Someone on the inside. Yeah.
And so the fact that there would be parties and then, our building manager would be around and there'd be little side conversations that happen and little negotiations that were happening. If I really, really fell in love with a place, I would like talk to my friend and be like, listen, I know this is creepy. I know like I don't want to live. I agree with like not living down the hall, but like this place is amazing. Like you can't blame me. And I'd be like, no, of course, obviously. But they'd be like, but I really, 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 really want to live here. And I promise like I'll bring you breakfast every morning. I would be like kissing their ass and let them know. No one told me that he was like promised the next available apartment until it happened. And I had another friend who I met only because I moved next door to them. And I was like, I know like we could be neighbors and friends. And so I put them in contact with them. And then I found out that this place was promised to Jax. And I was like, excuse me, what?
It's also so funny because I feel like, if it was like just Brittany, like this wouldn't even really be a problem. If it was like women, I feel like they're not going to just like come and overstay. I don't know.
Basically,
it's mostly just
it's Jax. It's Jax. It's just Jax.
Thing.
Yeah.
Jax like also like he would also like spend a lot of time on my couch in our old place.
Yeah.
For like a day and a half.
When he wasn't just next door in the hallway.
A day and a half.
Yeah.
He would just be like on my couch, like burying farts into my couch. And fine, whatever. Okay, like. And we would like all eat Domino's the next day and like be hungover and watch movie. It's fine. And then he would leave it at some point. But this is a different point. Like Tom and I, like Tom and I got married. Live in this nice place. Like I wanted to have that like separation. I feel like that's something I'm craving and that's important to me is to have that privacy.
Yeah.
And not be so accessible and just readily available to people. Like I kind of like just enjoy that.
Yeah.
And so
that's crazy, Katie. Crazy tequila Katie again. Just still having these wild, crazy notions.
Like, what's funny is like in any other like part of the country, you'd have gotten your own house that like actually was isolated. Like it's such like an LA or New York problem of like we're in this building and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is, and I get it because it's hard to find like dimes in this place,
right?
Like we're just
great
like,
apartments.
We got central air, you got gated garage, like
you have a pool apparently.
Yeah, we have a pool. Yeah,
we got a pool.
I have not
and
seen that,
and it's just like the location. I mean, it is so prime. I mean, I found out about this building and this apartment when I was here doing a podcast.
Yeah,
and I was like, is the building manager? I
didn't
totally
know that.
Yeah, so this is what happened.
I did the same thing, but I did it in front of him, so at least he knew I was going to try to move in.
Not even in front of me. I was the one who said like, oh, the building manager is coming downstairs.
Yeah, because I told you that we were starting to look at places.
Exactly.
And you were like, actually, and so I was like, okay, like I'll go check it out.
I was like, we have a vacancy upstairs. There's a vacancy here, not we, but there's a vacancy, so you should totally check it out.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then I looked at it. I was like, and I think like the next day, I was like, sign me up.
Within 5 minutes, you were like, Tom's going to find out we're moving in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I did it all on my own. And then I showed him basically after it was done. But like, I mean, there's a way to do things and I get it. And it's been, it's been fine. I mean, yeah, like sometimes when Jax knocks on the door and asking for Tom, I'm like, did you text? Like, no, he's not home. Did you text him? No. Why, Jax? That's so much faster than walking down the hall. Yeah. You just pick up your phone and while you're sitting on the couch and just text him. And if he doesn't text you back, if someone doesn't text you back, you don't go knock on their door.
No.
He's not home.
Weird.
He's at the gym or he's filming right now. Like, I don't know. Like, dude, text him. Okay. I mean? And then, sometimes, like, there's been one time where he was knocking on the door and I was, like, upstairs on the bathroom. I didn't hear it. And all of a sudden, I hear, hello?
Oh, Jesus
Christ. Tom. And I was like, this motherfucker. So that's when I started locking my door.
Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pump Rules Pod, or go to pumprolespodcast.com for more information. Email pumprolespodcast@gmail.com and follow on Facebook at facebook.com/pumprolespodcast. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.